So let's ask the big question. Why is there still no political accountability for what happened in Bengaluru a week later? Is the Siddaramaiah versus DKS battle brewing and at the heart of what has gone wrong in Karnataka? Joining me now is Bhaskar Rao, former police commissioner and spokesperson of the Karnataka BJP, and Deepak Thimaya, spokesperson of the Congress. Mr. Thimaya, a week tomorrow since what happened, that tragic event in Bengaluru, no political heads have rolled. We've had RCB officials being arrested, the event managers being arrested, we've had police officers being suspended, but the politicians are not being touched. What's the message? Today, even after the meeting with Rahul Gandhi, it seems no heads will roll.
Mr. Sardesai, I would like to ask a very simple question. When you say that, so many heads have to roll, if at all you assume that heads have to roll, and particularly the political heads, I mean, there should be at least a claim in the sense, what is your justification for asking something like that? Because, this was completely a law and order situation, which should have been managed by the police, and this should have not even gone to the political heads. It doesn't happen.
I'll tell you why. Because I'll tell you why I asked the question. Because even though the police denied permission, the events took place, and that could not have happened without the sanction of either the Chief Minister's office or the Deputy Chief Minister's office. So the police become the fall guys here.
You yourself know that that's just an assumption, right? Because there is
not
no
at all.
proof.
Not at all. We have on record, sir, we have a letter of the DCP.
Can anybody provide any kind of justification for a claim like that, saying that the CM or the DCM allowed this to happen?
It's not about the stampede, sir. The fact is that the Deputy Commissioner of Police said that there should not be any event at Vidhan Sauda.
But that
the police commissioner did not give any permission in writing. Show me one permission in writing.
Nothing happened at the Vidhan Sauda, and that is what I would like to tell you, because this happened at the KCA Stadium. And to actually compare these two events, that is almost like, comparing two different events altogether. We are talking about the KSCA incident that was basically because of the irresponsibility of the KSCA and also the RCB, which continuously tweeted saying that people could come there, and with almost about 40% of the stadium empty, not allowing people to come in and creating that kind of a euphoria that was not done by the government. And let me tell you, if the government interferes too much, people like you will question, why does the government poke its nose? Why does the government ask these questions? Why does the government stop RCB from celebrating? And if the government, doesn't interfere, there's a different set of questions altogether. Mr. Bhaskar Rao knows very well that there are times when the politicians will come in, and there are times that the politicians stay away. You can't have a rule book for all these things, because these things happen on the go.
Okay, I take your point that you're making, but Bhaskar Rao, respond. You see, increasingly it appears that the role of the RCB, the franchise, as well as of KSC is also under the scanner. You may want a political scapegoat. There is an inquiry on. Should we wait till the inquiry is over at least before we rush to judgment?
I'm surprised, Rajiv, that you found some point over there, though Deepak is a good friend of mine, and his anger is only an indication of the state of affairs in his own party and the way they're handling the situation. Every day the Chief Minister started lying. Let me make it very clear to you. First day he says we could not assess the crowd. Second day he places the police commissioner under suspension. Third day he says nobody informed me. Means, is this the way a head of a state talks? And I'm surprised, appalled, that Deepak says there is no incident at Vidhan Sauda, but an incident took place near the stadium. Who called for all these things? Who hosted all these things over there? And who is responsible for this 11 people's death?
Hosted, let's be clear, hosted by KSCA. No, 1 minute. At Chinnaswamy Stadium, hosted by KSCA and RCB.
Deepak, that is not yet clear. Don't jump to conclusion. Sarajdeep, don't jump to conclusion on that matter. Who called these people in less than 24 hours from Ahmedabad just because a few players wanted to go away? The police commissioner has been saying that there's an uncontrollable frenzy, wait for 2 days and we will do it. So, who has the vicarious responsibility? Not just because you, I and XYZ pressurize the government. The government has a mind of its own to take a decision over there. Whether it is in KSC or whether it is in Vidhan Sauda, you have to take an overall decision. And why the interest?
So where does the buck? So according to you, as a former commissioner of police, where does the buck stop? If the police commissioner has not given permission, where does it stop?
The buck stops with the chief minister and with nobody else. Look at
Not the Home Minister.
Look at the hurry with which the
Not the
program
Home Minister
was changed
also.
in Vidhan Sabha. Even for official programs, 3 to 4 days is required for permission to be granted. Who is coming? Who are the people? What are their antecedents? Did you see the crowd? People were standing on statues. People were standing on High Court walls over there. And absolutely all rules and regulations were cast to the winds. And the Chinnaswamy Stadium stampede, which is taken place, Chief Minister cannot wash his hands off the whole thing. It is a vicarious responsibility, and he is the one who has approved
so you're saying
all
the Chief Minister
activities to take place.
I take your point, sir. I take your point. Mr. Thimaya, the fact is that it appears that both the Chief Minister, Deputy Chief Minister, Home Minister all became fanboys for a day. Chief Minister organizes something in Vidhan Sabha, DKS gets involved with the function at KSCA. I mean, you surely need some chain of authority which makes it very clear no function means no function. If it is a security hazard, it's a security hazard. How can you overrule your police commissioner and top police officials?
Mr. Bhaskara himself, who is a very learned man, intelligent, who has actually seen the police force from the closest quarters possible. Let me tell you that he himself is saying about the kind of euphoria that was there. People climbing onto the trees and climbing onto the court building, climbing onto literally everything. Perhaps they would have even climbed onto the light poles also. But let me tell you, with that kind of a frenzy, if Mr. Bhaskara, even with his knowledge of the police force, thinks that, the police force can actually control people climbing the trees and climbing the buildings and jumping off
don't have a function in the first place.
You
could have told the franchise, sorry, we are not having it. No, 1 minute. Mr. Thimaya, there is a response. You cannot tell me that the government is run by a private franchise.
Exactly.
Stampede could happen even in a marriage function, Mr. Sardesai. You know it very well. And you can't just, assume things and start stopping things all over the country. Let me tell you, yesterday was a train accident in Mumbai. Didn't the railways know that if you don't have automatic gates, that people would be hanging from the doors? And has the railway minister even opened his mouth about it? Let me tell you, why accountability only about the Congress government? Perhaps you think Congress government is such a mature government. It can own up, perhaps, at least, the Congress government can say that, yes, we have a legacy of running this country for a long time, so you expect us to respond. I understand. You know very well Mr. Ashwin Vaishnav will never open his mouth and Mr. Modi will never own up the responsibility. Anybody dies, it's their problem. In Congress state, anybody dies, it's the government's problem. I understand. We take the responsibility.
Sir, you've given me an entry point to Mr. Bhaskar Rao to conclude. Mr. Bhaskar Rao, today BBC Hindi has brought out a stellar investigation showing actually 82 people have died in the Kumbh Mela stampede of January. The government of Uttar Pradesh said 31. They don't even acknowledge. At least the Karnataka government has acknowledged that the number of people has been honest enough. Your BJP government in Uttar Pradesh doesn't even acknowledge that 82 people died. They say 31 people died. What moral right do you have to attack the Congress? Did anybody resign in Kumbh Mela? No. Has anybody resigned, as Deepak Thimaya says, in any BJP-ruled state? You all don't resign ever. You want Congress to resign.
No, Rajdeep, don't get in such a hurry mode over there. If you think 82 people and not 83 people have or 84 people have, go file an affidavit. No. Go file an affidavit before Supreme Court. What stops you from doing that? Go and do it.
So no one in a BJP-ruled state must resign. The Congress chief minister must resign.
No. See, if you are talking with a BBC report over there, BBC report, how much cognizance needs to be taken. If you think the BBC has got a report, go take a BBC report and go and file a petition in the High Court. File an affidavit over there. But is it talking through the hat or talking law over here?
No, should we say that every time there is a stampede, a chief minister or home minister must resign? Simple, straight question, straight answer.
Of course. What do you think? Human life is so cheap or what?
So whether it's a BJP-ruled state or a Congress-ruled state, they must resign.
Over there, if they are found to be guilty, and they are responsible for that, here you can't even. It can be a separate discussion. Kumbh versus RCB stampede is a separate subject. I can speak on that. Kumbh is an organized event for which all the planning was there. The chief minister himself and the whole government was involved over there. Here, you have no semblance of planning, no semblance of preparation, and then you would say that commissioner is lying, commissioner did not tell me, shifting blames, responsibilities, etc., etc.
Okay.
Means you are trying to
I have heard,
not showing any political maturity.
I agree with you that there must be responsibility. I
home
agree
is a
with you.
totally
There must
separate
be
issue.
responsibility. There must be accountability. I don't want to engage
Yes.
in whataboutery, but
And
it is
who
very
has called-
clear. It is
who
very
has called
clear
the
that what is
DKS?
sauce for the goose will also one day be sauce for
Of
the
course,
gander. Let me
of
leave it there.
course.
Let me leave it there. Clearly, Mr. Thimaya and Mr. Bhaskar Rao, we will wait to see whether any political heads roll or whether it's the police alone that remains the fall guy. Thank you very much both of you for joining me on my face-off.